Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here. Just wanted to open this with a bit of somber news. Unfortunately, our friends at RotoGrinders went through some layoffs yesterday. One, Soccer Dave, a friend to many. I'm sure many of you guys watched the Swolecast, was laid off as well. So go support the Swolecast. Go subscribe to the Swolecast YouTube channel. If you're on Twitter, look up Soccer Dave, retweet his post. I don't know whether Dave's going to be doing content going forward. I'm sure Davis might know a little bit more if he can share. But
we are gonna do this Swolecast still. So the Swolecast is that channel, that YouTube channel has been transferred back to Soccer Dave. Peter and David and I are discussing like the best way to monetize that. Like, do we try and do it? Like, do we make the Swolecast a members only video? Like, we don't know exactly what form any of that is going to take yet, but the Swolecast will be back. There will be a way for you to support Soccer Dave. There will be a way for you to support the show for sure.
Wonderful to hear. I mean, Dave, in my opinion, is literally one of the funniest people to make
He's
content.
So
He's very hilarious. His tree is large. Some would say, I mean, Davis is firmly in there. I was a cast-off edition. Dave seems to selectively add guys who have done well. I mean, hey, no shame there. But yeah, go support Dave. Go support the Swolecast. Okay, moving forward. This past week, we saw Anthony Richardson benched because he was ridden by a 300-pound defensive tackle and subbed out for one play. We lost Christian Kirk to a season-ending injury. I myself had a lot of Kirk. We lost Stephon Diggs, a player doing much better than Kirk, to a season-ending injury. So the season is kicking along. No running backs, though. Every single running back is healthy and alive.
There's one running back on season-ending IR. Well, even depending on who you ask, it's Pacheco and then McCaffrey, but that's it. I did the math on this yesterday. Over 33%, so over a third of the wide receivers drafted in the top 36, so the top, you're basically starting wide receivers in a 12-team league, over a third of them have missed 2 or more games, and over 25% of them are on the season-ending IR. So, not a great year to draft wide receivers. I mean, basically, if you just drafted the oldest running back in every round, you're printing. Just every round, other than the first round, right? Because McCaffrey is the oldest. But other than the first round, if just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you drafted the oldest running back, you are smashing.
Or just really like the running back, like the only real bust, and they're not even full ETN. But like Gibbs, Mixon, even JT, Kyron, they're all doing great. I will say some of this is, obviously best ball is chaotic. And some of this is a correction where we have seen years where the opposite has occurred, right? And to me, it's a little bit more logical. Davis, people are asking you to move the mic a little bit closer if you could. To me, it's a little bit more logical that a running back who just they get more carries, they get tackled more, would be injured more than a wide receiver. But we've seen years where 8 of the top 10 running backs got injured. The opposite is occurring where many strong wide receiver picks are getting injured. It is what it is. That's the game we play. There is, a meta correction going on here somewhat where, it's the cover 2 era, yada, yada, yada. But,
it's just random.
It is random. And
let's just be honest. It is just random.
Well, it's chaos. And it's a reminder that if you are going to draft by one sole draft
strategy.
Yeah. So if you're going to be strictly a 0 RB bro, if you're going to be strictly a robust running back bro, anything in the mix there, hero running back, whatever, you are taking on risk where you can have some really great years. You also can have some really bad years. I myself think I was strongly weighted to 0 RB. And yeah, like I've dealt with, so I lost Ayuk, I lost Christian Kirk. But honestly, I think like I myself have been pretty fortunate on the injury run out compared to some like Davis. I think you lost Hollywood. You didn't get any games from him. Rice. Okay. You got some games from him. But the advance rates, whatever. Of course, it's highly injury.
Yeah, I mean, 2 of my 4 most drafted players, I got 4 combined games out of. Well, really 3, because Rice got hurt in week 4. So
yeah, that's a killer.
what can you do?
I want to. We're gonna go through this thread. I decided to thread it here with just the some of the things. But something cool that I wanted to bring to people's attention is new on BBMDB, which we'll look at this later, is the expected to advance.
Yeah.
And they have this both for the user and for a player. So if you type in Justin Jefferson or whoever, it tells you that Justin Jefferson is currently advancing 23.1% and his expected advance rate is 21.6%. So I talked to, and Patrick, if you're hanging in chat, feel free to chime in. But I talked to Patrick Donovan, the creator of bbmdb.com. This is pinned in my Discord. And he said that what's happening here is a Monte Carlo simulation. Go ahead and Google that if you want, is occurring where he's using a projection source, which is, it's quite faulty for best ball scoring, but it's an attempt. And it's going through the pods, it's weighing injured players, and it's ranking the pods and how likely you are to advance in them. So it's a very cool data point. It's going to be very interesting to track it. In my opinion, it's very hard to capture best ball scoring through projections because you can't exactly project when CeeDee Lamb scores 42 points. And I don't know if he's using median projections, if he's using ceiling projections, whatever. The other thing you can't project is a rookie getting more workload as the season goes, or a guy coming off IR. Like, these things are probably not going to be captured in raw projections. Someone like Will Shipley, like Saquon Barkley turns an ankle. Okay, maybe he goes on to average 9 points per game. He's currently projected for probably like 0.1 point, So I don't think it's perfect, but it's a cool data point, and it's going to be cool to see how wild the expected goes week to week. Davis, thoughts?
The interesting thing is, like, it's going to do a pretty good job capturing the median outcomes, like if things sort of go as expected. But, Saquon Barkley would not have been projected to have a 40% advance rate. Derrick Henry would have not been projected. If you did this way, even after week 1, things would have looked a lot different, right? Because it's regressing Derrick Henry back to the norm. It's also regressing Rashee Rice back to the norm or whatever. There's a lot that it's not accounting for. I'm sure it is one of the best possible ways to do it. And it probably is more directionally accurate than I would like it to be as someone who's not advancing a ton of teams. The thing that is going to have to happen for me at this stage is, like, Worthy and Wicks and Chase Brown, their good games can't be 15 points anymore. It's got to be 23 points. Like that, like, kind of the issue with a lot of my portfolio is I just don't have access to the giga spikes, basically.
Yeah.
Like, some of my picks have been, in fact, like, I was thinking about this the other day, like, what would I really do differently? Like, I definitely would have stopped taking Hollywood Brown at all after he got hurt. That would have been, it's like, I don't know, how many teams does that even affect for me? Like 5? Really, the thing is, this year, if you were not in on Barkley, on Henry, on Mixon, and on Kamara, you are dust. Like,
well,
those
and
are just the guys
honestly,
you had to have.
a player that people probably don't think about, but is really impacting who is advancing and who isn't, is Baker Mayfield.
Oh yeah.
Where Baker Mayfield is averaging over 24 points per game.
Yeah.
And so that skews a lot, where simply having Baker Mayfield, who is a 40% advance rate guy, as like a 15th round quarterback is, that's insane, where it's like, okay, good for you. You have Lamar, or good for you. You have Josh Allen, or good for you. You got Jalen Hurts to score 36 points this past week. Doesn't matter, because the guy who got, even if he has ETN and Josh Jacobs, who are like nice, but they're not like Derrick Henry level hits so far, whatever. If they got Baker Mayfield, they're making up so much ground. And even with
And
Baker
I
losing,
feel so embarrassed to not have more Baker. I feel really bummed out because I'm like I'm literally a Baker guy.
he's a brand
Like
guy for
he's
you.
I've loved Baker's short. He went to Oklahoma. He's putting Zins in on the sideline. Like the game that Baker started off the plane for the Rams. I was like the only user in the field who locked him in 150. Like I'm like a Baker guy, and I'm missing out on the renaissance. It feels really bad.
There are definitely some past brand guys for me who I'm like a little. I feel the same way. Like for example, Darius Slayton. I had 20% Darius Slayton last year,
Yeah.
and this year I was like, because I thought a lesson from last year was okay. Darius Slayton was like a nice player, but he wasn't. He has no chance of being a grand slam. He has no chance of being Kyron Williams, Puka Nakua. And I was like, okay, like I'm gonna try to attempt to land more guys like that. So like I have a lot of Will Shipley. Will Shipley, much lower floor than Darius Slayton, but you know, if Saquon gets hurt, I think I'm landing a starting running back maybe who is barely being drafted. Now, that's nice for maybe winning the contest, but advance rate wise, it's really nice to have Darius Slayton giving you 20-point weeks here and there when he's barely drafted. And there's some other players too like that. Um, I would say like something, just a reminder is really just like you gave specific guys Derrick Henry, Saquon. I think it's just varying your draft style. Where I mean, it's okay, like it's fully okay to draft only zero RB or only robust RB or whatever you think is best in a given market, but it is very risky, right? And it's fine, right? Like we're playing a very risky game in Best Ball Mania where it's top heavy, injuries are going to happen, etc. Moving on to the first round pick best ball advance rates. Puka Nakua got a little bit of a bump and looked effing awesome in that game. Just like an unreal warrior. I think people were a little quick to say, oh, he was a flash in the pan after Cooper Kupp had his mega spike. Justin Jefferson and Chase continue to score touchdowns every single week. Sun God, even in his bad games, like even in Sun God's bad games, the Lions are like, let's get him a touchdown though. Like this past week, I think he had 2 catches, 7 yards, and a touchdown. And it's like, okay, that's not, 10 points isn't awesome, but it hits your lineup, you know? Bijan and Brees really facing an uphill climb to be monster advance rates. And it's really through no fault of their own. It's more so how good the running backs in rounds 2 through 7 are doing. Like I saw someone being like, I was genius to fade the first round pick wide receivers. I think you should have the exact opposite take where these are the guys who usually can separate. Maybe not Garrett Wilson. I guess it was a little crazy to have 2 Jets in the first round. But you get your anchor wide receiver or 2, and then you hit your running backs. I think would be more the actionable takeaway.
That is kind of interesting. You would expect in a year where a bunch of dudes at wide receiver have died, you would think that, like the Bijan Brees teams, those guys haven't been great, but they've been good. You'd expect them to be good. But actually the better construction is Lamb, is Chase, is Jefferson in the first round with Derrick Henry, with Joe Mixon.
James Cook.
James Cook. Yeah, really good
Ken
example.
Walker.
Yeah. It's I mean, is there anything actionable there? Like, I guess
I think it is. I think it is actionable.
It is actually the zero RB lesson, which is that if you take a running back over these elite wide receivers, you better be sure that they've got the ceiling, and we really haven't seen it.
Like literally, if your running back is not averaging roughly 20 to 25 points per game for the season, it is not a good pick advance rate wise. Now, I'm like, some people hate this when I say this, but I am not trying to advance. Like I really do.
I do hate this. I think this is so stupid.
Like how I attack the marathon, I would say is more the advance rate mentality, where the marathon, a total points contest, is where I'm like, okay, I want to get 3 running backs. I want to, like I'm not trying to like nail chaos, which is just a different vehicle in my opinion. I'm not considering playoff matchups, but more to the point where, yeah, it's just these these wide receivers are so safe as long as they don't get hurt. They're going to be averaging 20 points per game. It is very risky to take a running back where they literally need to be CMC from last year for you to regret not having them. So, whatever the market's going to be next year, which I still think it'll be pretty wide receiver heavy.
I've been making that point recently, that this idea that like drafters are going to be like, you know what, dude, I'm ready to take Joe Mixon in the 3rd round. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of the way people draft. Because guess what? No one who does rankings, no one who does YouTube, like you're not going to see YouTubers taking 28-year-old running backs in the 2nd round. Like Derrick Henry, let's say Derrick Henry literally runs for 2,000 yards and 20 touchdowns. Finishes the year, does well in the playoffs, like no sort of negative impact in his production profile at all. He is going to be cheaper in Best Ball Mania 6 than he was in Best Ball Mania 5 because he's 31 years old.
The only thing I could see changing it is, number one, let's say Joe Mixon, Saquon, like some of these like let's say they get hurt weeks 15 through 17 or whatever, and that will be recency bias where people will be like, oh, running backs get hurt, even though it's like injuries are kind of random. And the other thing I would say is it really depends what the market is. So if they're going to give us the 1st round rookie wide receivers in round 8 next year instead of round 6, that will make taking running backs earlier more palatable, because when you can get Rome Odunze, Xavier Worthy, Keon Coleman, like if those guys are like round 10 picks, you're like, okay, why not just take it really depends what the market is doing as a whole. In my opinion there.
It'll be pretty interesting. It's a really good skill position class that's coming in. Like, a really interesting will be Bijan again. There's going to be a running back who goes in the 1st round of the NFL draft.
Yeah, is he's a 1st round pick, right?
Oh yeah, I would be surprised if he gets
in fantasy. In fantasy.
No, he's gonna be a 1st round pick in the real NFL draft too.
Yes,
almost for sure.
No, he's gonna be a top 10 real life pick, and I think a 1st round pick in fantasy.
Yes, yeah, and that'll be pretty interesting. I believe both of the Ohio State guys are out of eligibility. Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson. They're probably going to be 2nd round picks. And the wide receiver, the wide receiver guys are pretty good. Although it's weird, Ted McMillan and Luther Burden were supposed to be like top 15 picks, and they're not really playing that well. So that is kind of interesting. I don't know what'll happen there, but basically, I'm expecting. I think we will get, in particular, rookie wide receivers. I bet will be cheaper next year because none of them are really smashing this year, other than Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr.
We're going to talk about the rookies in a bit here. What's your opinion on the teammate pairings being 1st round picks? Are we going to see this again next year? So we got Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. We got Gibbs and Amon-Ra. If Cooper Kupp was younger, I think we would have gotten Puka and Kupp borderline 1st round picks too. What's like? Are we going to be seeing this going forward? Are people going to be? It's kind of hard to be like, oh, Breece should be, but Garrett Wilson should be a 2nd round pick, or like going into the season.
So much of it'll just depend on market sentiment. Like, why were Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall both 1st round picks? It's everyone said, well, they can't possibly be worse. Things cannot get worse than Zach Wilson at quarterback, and it turns out they kind of can. There should have been more alarms raised for there should have been more alarms raised when they took 2 running backs on day 3, the Jets, when they took Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis and kept Izzy Abanikanda. They kept 4 running backs, which is pretty weird.
Just for Breece, you're saying, or just as an organization?
No, just for Breece.
Smart?
For Breece to be like, it's pretty. And they gave Dalvin Cook like $8 million last year because they didn't want Breece to get the ball too much. It's sort of interesting. I think one of the funniest things looking back will be that Kyron was not a 1st round pick because of Blake Corum. Like, Kyron was a 1-2 turn pick in the big board. They take Blake Corum. He ends up being like I don't know, you could have got him in the 3rd round some, but mostly a 2nd round pick. and
no, you could get him at the 3-4 turn for a solid chunk of the season. And like I was someone who was drafting a lot of Kyron at the 1-2, and I was like, okay, like I understand Corum, but I still like I still believe in Kyron. Like I still think it's gonna be the Kyron show. But like I don't know. I didn't windmill Kyron, and I kind of regret that I didn't just like stick to my guns there. Like
yeah, I liked Kyron. I don't even know how much I ended up with him.
I have
in
21
the
Kyron
end.
teams. And you have
Wow,
none.
I have like none.
Part of it was me also being like I had like Kyron was one of my highest drafted guys last year. And so part of it was just being like, I think some weird bias is happening here where people didn't have him last year, and he's not a sexy guy like Achan.
Well, Achan is about to flip the whole thing on its head. He's averaging he's averaging 23 points per game in games that Tua starts. I think.
I mean, you can just lock him in for 7 targets a game, pretty much.
Yeah, he's got a 21% target share in games that Tua started.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say on the first round picks here?
Yeah, Garrett Wilson is going to go down. We're going to see that Puka number go way up, and I think that Garrett Wilson number goes down.
Well, I would say the people saying that Devontae, like Garrett Wilson is out targeted. Devontae, like Devontae Adams is, I wouldn't even say low key, high key on washed alert. If you look at
I don't know.
His like, I saw fantasy points tweet a graph where it was like separation score, like his first retarget share very high, but his separation score was like nearly last.
Did he ever have a good separation score? I honestly don't even know.
I mean, I would assume that he's been getting open in his career as an elite wide receiver. Like, he's not Deebo Samuel to me, who almost by design, Deebo doesn't separate because he can shrug guys off. And he's old, so like, I would think that's just coming into play. The Jets are passing more with the Devontae Adams acquisition. What
happens if they lose to the Texans on Thursday and they're 2-7? What happens?
Dude, I said they should fire the interim coach after they lost to the Pats and just keep on doing that until someone wins a game. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say on Breece is, finally they they were like, okay, we can't give this guy this many touches. They did give Braylon Allen, I think, most of the short yardage looks against the Patriots. Although they lost, so maybe that changes. Quarterbacks looks like this. Hurts has a big spike. His expected advance rate's much higher. He's gone through the bye. Mahomes, I thought we might get the Mahomes explosion against the Raiders, like in DFS. Like I late swapped to him and like a team that was like,
yeah, I played a little bit of him and Kelsey
buried. I played him with Worthy, who was like 0.5% owned. Lamar continues to smash week in and week out. Anthony Richardson benched. I think it's temporary, but time will tell.
I don't know, man. Someone did one of the Colts guys did like an informal study of quarterbacks who got. I saw this posted in one of my group chats. Like first round quarterbacks who got benched midseason, and then how many of them came back, and the history is not great.
I really don't think the head coach wanted to bench him. I think Irsay did. He's a owner who meddles. He's a bit.
I was trying to figure this out with Ron yesterday. We did a take cast where we talked a lot about this. It's someone trying to save their job, but it's unclear. It's unclear who. It's unclear. Maybe it's Ballard?
It's just the owner being like, no, we're going with Flacco. Like, we will not play a quarterback. Like, okay, either they've the locker room is legit revolting and being like, we want Flacco, in which case, okay, you kind of have to then. Right. Or Irsay's like, no, our quarterback is absolutely not going to sub himself out for one play. In a game they almost won. They almost beat the Texans. You could say Richardson wasn't the reason for that, but they almost did. Stroud, man, I mean, it's only going to get worse with no Diggs until Nico returns.
How many times did John Mechie get drafted in Best Ball
Mania? Dude, it's not even John Mechie. It's Xavier Hutchinson is the guy. Like I do a usage thing each week, And
No,
Xavier Hutchinson is by far
but
running.
Mechie was the one who did the like for like in 11 personnel with Diggs. Hutchinson and Robert Woods have been taking all of. Well, first off, before Diggs got hurt, no wide receiver was over 70% snaps. They're really rotating them, probably because just they're all terrible. But Mechie is the one who like for like Diggs after he got hurt, and he had the best targets per route run as well. Wow, a Chess Liam Mechie team.
Advancing.
Incredible.
That we might even co-own this team. I don't know. Okay, maybe Mechie gets a huge bump. Very baffling that the Texans released Noah Brown. Who is they got to be kicking themselves in the feet for that right now.
Yeah.
I think Woods and Mechie ran 9 and 6 routes respectively. Now Diggs got hurt late in the game, so maybe what you're saying is correct.
Mechie got 4 targets after Diggs got hurt.
Okay. He barely was on the field. Hutchinson maybe is more of the sacrificial X. So
that's exactly what Xavier Hutchinson is. That dude is not earning targets.
Well, he's going to be on the field, and Stroud can hit a deep bomb. Hutchinson was drafted 32 times compared to Mechie's 1,400. So another reminder that if you're willing to go one spot down,
Mechie was the 44th overall pick in the NFL draft in 2021.
I know, and teams asked the Texans if they would trade him this offseason, and they responded by releasing Noah Brown. So they clearly release Robert Woods. What are you doing? Kyler, I don't know. Kyler's kind of ho-hum. He had a good day against the Dolphins.
His will go up if they use Marvin Harrison Jr. like that again, where he actually looked like a real wide receiver. Because I can look this up.
But here's how much the Dolphins respect Kyler. They had James Conner faced 8-man in the box all day. So that's the reason why he had 300
there are 16,000 Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr. teams compared to just 56,000 overall. So those are going to be, Marvin Harrison Jr. gets a couple spikes. His is going to go up. Yeah,
but it's not a great sign that the defense is you know what we're going to do? We're going to stop James Conner. We're not really worried about Kyler Murray, the passer. Now they lost, so maybe
maybe there's something there.
Love. I don't everyone's banged up on the Packers, and I don't know how hurt Wicks is, but he went back to a pure role player with.
Yeah, he only ran 9 routes, and Watson ran his highest route share in a game that Wicks has been active.
Is Wicks significantly banged up, or is that just you think the preferred wide receiver order? Jaden Reed is clearly still hurt to me. He's playing, but he's still hurt.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I've not heard any reporting on Wicks still having that shoulder injury, but not great. Not great for
Love did have a MRI revealed to be a groin injury, not believed to be serious, so dodged a bullet there. Joe Burrow, it's hard to say, is Chase pulling up Burrow or
Anti?
I'm kind of curious, is it Chase purely by himself or is it more Burrow?
Well, here we can look. Burrow, non-rostered, Jamar Chase has a 19% advance rate. Joe Burrow with Chase has a 32% advance rate. So it's Chase, it's almost definitely Chase.
Chase without Burrow, 30%. Burrow without Chase. As you're saying.
It's definitely I would say he's getting pulled up a good bit. Yeah.
Yeah. And Jamar Chase sees the most double coverage rates in the NFL. I don't know if that's because the Bengals are bad at scheming compared to the Vikings, or maybe teams think that Chase is a little bit better than Jefferson, despite him continuing to smash. Dak, nice if do the Cowboys not care? Why aren't they trading for Diontae Johnson? They couldn't give a conditional 4th.
It sounds like he just wanted to go to the Ravens, maybe. And his agent was kind of putting it out there, I want to go to the Ravens, because That pick swap was like nothing.
That trade's egregious. They could literally be those picks could literally be next to each other in the draft, and the Ravens are going to get a comp pick if he leaves. So
yeah. So
like,
I'm gonna guess that probably his agent was like, I don't want to play for Dallas. I want to play. Has Diontae Johnson ever played a meaningful game? I guess like a wild card game with Ben Roethlisberger, but he's never really been on a good team.
yeah, he's been in the league so long. Yeah, I mean the vibes around the Cowboys are bad.
Do you know the Rico Dowdle conspiracy theory?
No, I don't. I mean, I was pit like it was a major gut punch to me. I had him in a bunch of managed leagues starting, and best ball, one of my highest drafted guys, for him to be sick. What's the conspiracy?
So the conspiracy theory is that they made up that he was sick because basically someone, probably Jerry, maybe Steven Jones, be like, Dalvin Cook's been on the practice squad. He looks good in practice. Like, we can't run the ball at all. We need to get Dalvin active. We can't make Zeke a healthy scratch because of like all the, like it would just be a mess for the Cowboys. Like Zeke is so well respected. The fans love it. Like it's just the whole Zeke thing is obviously terrible for the organization. So like one of these guys has to be a healthy scratch. One of Rico or Zeke has to be a healthy scratch so we can get a look at Dalvin because we love Lupke.
I don't believe this at all, but I mean,
I have heard it from someone who probably wouldn't be making it up. I don't know if I believe it. I don't know if I believe it or not. But the current conspiracy theory is basically they make up this illness because they have to make one of them a healthy scratch, and they're not making Zeke a healthy scratch. It's basically
I just refuse to believe that they didn't look at their team and realize that Rico is like by far their best running back.
The thing is that he's the best quote unquote running back in that he's good at getting the ball in space. Like he's a good pass catcher. He is not a good between the tackles runner.
Okay, fair. I mean, I don't know. It's like going into the game against the 49ers, season's on the line.
That's the thing is it's a weird spot to do it. Like if you
yeah,
are
like
gonna,
if this is the Panthers, like okay,
right,
maybe
exactly. Yeah, like I said, I don't know if I believe it or not, but that is a conspiracy theory that I heard.
Jaden Daniels injured, doesn't matter. Hits the Hail Mary. Continues to be a very awesome pick.
That's the thing about Jaden Daniels, though. That's like we said. I mean, I guess you're not a big college football guy, but like this dude just loves to get tackled. Like he like invites contact. I would not be surprised to see him miss another stretch of games at some point this year to get injured again.
Well, he didn't even miss a game.
Well, I mean, he basically did. He played one drive in the Panthers game.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. I mean, I think the Commanders absolutely need to trade for a wide receiver. Like, you have a playoff team here. Why not get Diontae Johnson? I don't even know. Like,
yes, great point. What the hell?
Like
Seriously.
with Christian Kirk hurt, give up a overpay, give up a third round pick. Who cares? You absolutely are
now
not.
Now that Diontae's been traded, who else is out there?
That's what I'm trying. Like, was Christian Kirk off the market? I guess you could go for Gabe Davis. I really don't think that does.
He's hurt
anything.
too.
Yeah, he got hurt too.
Here, let's. I'll just pull up the first one is the USA Today. Let's see if we get anything interesting here.
The Thielen, but I don't know, man. Mike Williams, I don't know, man.
KJ, I guess Slayton, KJ Osborne, Adam Thielen's probably the best one.
I think Slayton is, honestly, but I don't see the Giants. Calvin Ridley.
He just is owed so much money that it's really hard.
Yeah, to do. I think the contract makes him unmovable. I guess if the 49ers wanted to trade Debo, which makes absolutely no sense to me, I don't understand why those trade rumors are out there.
Maybe they would have done it
before Ayuk
got hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is also weird to me. Maybe T. Higgins if the Bengals are out of the playoffs.
No, they're not. Well, they should do it. They won't though. Cuz the thing is when you have the quarterback, how do you tell Joe Burrow sorry, bud? You just got to make it work with Andre Yoshibas. I just from an organizational perspective, I don't think you can do it. And people are saying Cup in the chat. So the deal with
no
that
way. No
is
way Cup is getting traded anymore.
they played that game against the Vikings. That was Stafford and Cup and
Last
Puka.
stand.
Like
Cutler's last stand.
they were like, we are playing to keep the band back together. We are saying we want to win. We want to play together. We are proving the right to do that. They get 10 days off now. Puka's probably going to be, I would imagine he will be fully healthy. They're going to get to play the Seahawks without Metcalf. They're going to be tied for first in the division if they beat Seattle here.
Yeah, and I mean honestly, I think they will. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like you can't win a playoff game with like Zach Ertz as your second.
Dude, Ertz has been playing.
He's been awesome
really
in
well.
fantasy,
Yeah.
right? But Caleb Williams, I'm willing to forgive him a little bit. Coming back from London can be weird. I doubt he used his bye optimally. Probably, he's a cocky guy. He probably thought like I'll be fine. He was not fine.
I gotta be honest, dude. I just put so little of what's going like. Now I'm like trying to be very careful of my priors because my priors were Caleb Williams is this awesome, legendary prospect. He's gonna be incredible. He's gonna feed Rome. He's gonna feed Keenan. He's gonna feed DJ Moore. I do believe that Waldron is like an all-time bad coach, like to the point that it should be like what happened to Freddie Kitchens, where
they should trade for Ken Dorsey.
Yeah, I mean they should do something. They should do something because handing it to your backup fullback who had been or backup center who'd been injured, that was the weirdest thing of the whole thing. That guy had been injured. Like it is not like they I bet.
And Roshan Johnson
practiced that play.
Roshan Johnson is 100%. Like at every carry within the 5, he scored a touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like
it makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yes, they should have won the game probably, but more like the Commanders' defense is just better this year. Like I still think that bad defense can show its head at times, but they're certainly better. I think a lot of it has to do with Jaden Daniels possessing the ball all game, and so they don't have to play that much. But let's see Caleb against the Cardinals. I think that could be a good spot. And Roma Dunze, I think we saw a slight uptick off the bye. I think he was leading the team in first read target share, but it's still like a mix there. So funny, dude, that elite tight end or tight end day. Like you can't even really celebrate Kincaid scoring a touchdown when Cade Otton scores 2. Kyle Pitts scores 2. Like literally every single tight end, if their quarterback is good enough to force them the ball, got force fed the ball. Maybe try this every week, guys. Maybe try it every week. I don't know. It is very funny that really like no one gets a boost because everyone did well.
It's really funny that Goddard's advance rate is I guess because so much of it is with Hurts, but it's funny that his advance rate is still so
well,
good.
It's just that the like elite tight end was good. It's just these guys are all mispriced. It wasn't that sensible for these guys to be much cheaper.
Man, Ingram is gonna like smash. Ingram is gonna go.
Kittle, dude. Kittle is the tight end 1. Bowers will continue to smash. I think the Chiefs like really tried to shut him down. Ingram will certainly smash with no Kirk. David Njoku will continue to smash. That's going way up.
Dude, Njoku, yeah.
Amari Cooper, he slipped on a route and caused Josh Allen's first interception. Him killing the Bills offense has not occurred at all. Shakir, Kincaid.
Dude, Keon, that touchdown,
I think.
So that touchdown that he scored, you know how much faith the Joe Brady and Josh Allen have to call that play? That's a crazy play to call, like
a fade when you could just run Josh Allen at the goal line.
That doesn't happen on any team. Like that never works. That's like that is like Calvin Johnson stuff of just being like, you are gonna catch this ball and your defender is not gonna have a chance. That was like the most stunning play of the weekend for me.
Against Tariq, I forget his last name, like Woolen or something, who's one of the top corners in the league. I still think Keon will be boom busty, where, I mean, maybe he's breaking out, where he's just going to be consistently getting these targets. He has helped that Josh Allen spreads the ball around.
Yeah, I do want to, I wasn't going to give you the engagement on Twitter, but I do want you to know that Keon Coleman would be ass on this Chiefs team. He would be Justin. I just want you to know he would be Justin Watson on this Chiefs team. He would never get the ball because Mahomes does not do what Josh does. Mahomes does not give his guys a chance to win.
50-50 ball.
Think in your head of like non-Tyreek throws where Mahomes has said, go make a play. Like you really can't. It's not how he plays.
Well, Kelsey has been his like top guy his whole career, and he just gets wide open.
He just gets wide open.
He just boxes guys out.
That's their thing. He is like Kelsey is like Cooper Kupp for Stafford. It's like they just have the mind. They just have the mind meld. Like, how many times in your life have you seen Kelsey catch a pass and there's not a defender in the frame? Like, he just catches a pass and somehow there's literally
he just runs to the open space and Mahomes is like, cool, gotcha. I do think Keon's better than Worthy today, but I think Worthy's ceiling is still massive. Finishing up the tight ends, Trey McBride, I don't think has scored a touchdown this year.
How many touchdowns do you think he scored going back to his time at Colorado State University? His
5. Let's say 5.
His final season at Colorado, he caught 90 passes. So I'll just give you that hint. He caught 90 passes his final season at college.
He scored 3 in 2021. I'll say 3 in college.
So he caught 1 his final season in college. He fell on a touchdown this year. He scored 1 touchdown as a rookie. He scored 3 touchdowns. He has 201 NFL targets.
That 1 touchdown he scored as a rookie won me the 555.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
And guess who his quarterback was? Do you remember?
2022.
It was against the Falcons.
2022 Cardinals quarterback. Was it McCoy?
Kyler got hurt.
Was it McCoy?
It was I think it was David Blau.
Was it Bling Blang Blau?
The guy whose wife is an Olympian.
Well, Zach Ertz's wife is an Olympian.
No, this guy is too. His wife's a sprinter. I've seen.
No, Colt McCoy did start for that team. Trace McSorley started for that team, and Bling Blang Blau started for that team. Incredible team, the 2022 Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah. And McBride didn't do anything all year, by the way, and was the winning piece week 17. So that's the game we're playing. Andrews scored 2 touchdowns this past week, right?
Just 1.
Just 1. I think
you love to make up touchdowns.
Well, so many touchdowns get wiped off by penalty, but he's got to be hurt a little bit by Diontae. I think everyone is a little like it's just going to be spread out.
No one is getting hurt by Diontae Johnson. Look, all due respect to Diontae Johnson, he's an aggressively mediocre football player. Like people. I'm not the first one to make this joke, but Bateman had that awful drop. Lamar hits him like wide open, 40 yards down the field. He has this awful drop, and everyone made the same joke. Like, who's the wide receiver in the league most likely to replicate that drop? It's Diontae Johnson, who leads the NFL in drop rate since he got drafted.
Clearly the NFL doesn't like him. Like, for him to be traded for so little, like, teams are not impressed by him.
I mean, he was a Panther, so that should tell you right there. Like, he's a Panther, so only a bad team wanted him. The Chiefs could have had him, right? The Chiefs could have had Diontae Johnson, and they said, you know what? We want 32-year-old DeAndre Hopkins on a torn MCL. By the way, do you think there's any chance that Devontae Adams gets traded again?
I mean, if the team is just like Rodgers will bench himself if you do that. So if you're okay having fans not show up to the games, yes. But I do think the owner would rather fill the stadium, and so no. But I mean, they should.
Woody Johnson has bigger things going on. He's about to be reappointed as an ambassador in like 2 weeks.
Kyle Pitts, man. I mean, okay, he's put together a really solid stretch. Unquestionably, he did not score that second touchdown to me. Like when he jogged it in and the Bucks defender swatted it away. I just think it was one of those things where inconclusive evidence, so you call it a touchdown, but like he definitely didn't score that one. Doesn't really matter. He is a boom bust guy, which is I think a feature, not a bug sometimes in best ball players. Like, Gabe Davis, but at tight end. Which is, it's a pretty nice piece in fantasy.
I think Kyle Pitts is kind of ascending. Like obviously I was like out on Kyle Pitts, like Kyle Pitts is dead. But the thing is that Kirk is now like the offense is not good, but he's playing well enough. Like this is clearly the best quarterback play Kyle Pitts has
He
ever
runs less
gotten.
routes than Ray McLeod still.
Yeah, but he runs high value routes. You know, it's honestly he's kind of like Mark Andrews now. He's a high ADOT Mark Andrews style guy.
Well, Mark Andrews is getting there on like goal line touchdowns. Yeah, Pitts is the deep ADOT guy. No, I mean, you're very happy to have Pitts on your team. You know, he's not like the reason you're doing well, but he's capable of giving you a huge spike clearly. And Kirk Cousins looks good, so that will rise all boats. Jake Ferguson, you know, he is just the second guy on the Cowboys.
Jalen Tolbert is like kind of good.
I don't think so. I mean, he is okay. He's not good enough though. Like the Cowboys not getting a second decent guy aside CeeDee Lamb is like just so dumb. It's like the reason, like, you know, it just can't be Dak and Lamb. It just can't.
Yeah. No, you're completely not wrong about that at all.
Wanted to talk about the rookies today. Here's the advance rates on the top 12 drafted rookie wide receivers. You know, all of them except for Brian Thomas Jr. and Xavier Legette, who was cheap, and Jalen McMillan, who correlates with Baker, are negative advance rate guys. Now,
and by the way, McMillan did not get there on Sunday, but they were like running him out of the backfield, like moving him all around. Like Sterling Shepard was in the Godwin spot before. Then he dinged up his hammy. I think, and I don't know, you know, all these UW wide receivers, Rome and McMillan and why am I forgetting the other one? Polk. They all look terrible, but yeah. I kind of think McMillan has the best chance of getting there right now.
Well, I mean, compared to Polk, who was a healthy scratch, hell yeah.
So I thought he was a healthy scratch too. My YouTube chat informed me he had a concussion, so he was out. He was out with a concussion. Now maybe that might be a Windhorst. That might be
when the coach punches you in the head before the game, you tend to get a concussion. No, I mean, okay. So I mean, maybe for him. Ricky Pearsall didn't really do much with the opportunity. Adonai Mitchell, I think he might play less going forward. Like he made some real boneheaded plays, dropped a touchdown. Brian Thomas Jr. dealing with a chest injury. Absolutely smashing though. Just like an elite player, clearly. Like minimum a 3rd round pick next year, probably a 2nd round pick. Rome Odunze, leaving the light on there. Just Caleb needs to play better. He probably needs to play a little bit better too. Worthy. I mean, really strong first read target share numbers. I think Hopkins might open the field for him, and really just like more of a second half play where you're hoping to nail that 3 touchdown game in the playoffs, ideally week 17. Neighbors definitely hurt by the lack of the left tackle for the Giants. And I meant to bring this up about the Vikings. They did trade for the Jaguars left tackle, which is honestly huge for Jefferson, Addison, Aaron
Massive.
Jones.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, he's not great, Cam Robinson, but he's better than David Quessenberry, an ex-Bill. Neighbors, you know, kind of a disappointing stretch for him after lighting the league on fire. Marvin Harrison Jr.
That's what all the people said was going to happen. Was Andrew Thomas was going to go out, and the deep developing stuff was going to go away, and that's basically what's happened.
Except for Darius Slayton, who they don't cover.
Yeah, Daniel Jones is just like the pumpkining of Daniel Jones is here. Like he's a pumpkin. You know, it's bad for Neighbors.
Marvin Harrison, they definitely let him run more like in breaking routes and varied his route tree, which is huge for his fantasy value. Coming off a strong game. Keon Coleman, we talked about, but you know, back-to-back big games. I think Cooper being there is big just for like mentorship, etc. The team clearly loves him. The thing that Keon Coleman did that I know the coaches love is he did the George Pickens blocking thing. Like if you remember rookie George Pickens where he like shoves the corner, he shoved him down and then he like, pointed at him. The other thing he did is he blocked a dude into the bench on the sideline. And that just like gets the coaches fired the F up. So clearly he's doing good things in practice if he's seeing these like jump ball opportunities from Josh. He is a better best ball pick than managed to me still, but that's the game we're primarily talking about here. Ladd McConkey, we're seeing a post-buy bump for him. I think the Chargers, like Diontae Johnson made no sense to me landing with the Chargers. Like they need a guy more like Darius Slayton, someone to just open up the field for Ladd.
They need DJ Shark, but good.
Healthy. We just need DJ Shark healthy.
DJ Shark, but good.
DJ Shark off the IR, dude. We're gonna get there. I think he's probably on one of our co-owned teams. So Ladd, dude, definitely breaking out. Who would you rather have, Ladd or Keon?
Ladd, because Ladd is
he's going to be more consistent.
He's
going to be more consistent than
I
Keon.
believe he leads the NFL in target share. I don't think I'm making that up.
And Herbert looks fully healthy. He had a 30 or 40-yard run in this past game.
They are above since the bye week. They are above the above league average in pass rate over expectation, which you never would have thought in a million years. I need to look up this.
And again, I think like not even a joke. I think if DJ Chark returns and you replace like Jalen Reagor snaps with him, that will open up the field further for Ladd. Yeah, I do think Ladd will be more consistent from Keon. He also might have bigger spikes than Keon. It's kind of hard to say because we know like Keon's really excelling at Yak as well. He was a strangely hated guy. Like, and I think like I think of you as a Keon hater.
I thought he was a dog shit prospect, but it is playing out. Like, and you knew what the Bills were going for at the time. I thought it was unwise. I honestly still like believe in AD Mitchell. The guy gets open. Like he is just unbelievably good at getting, but I guess what's pretty clear is he is not a hard worker and is just not willing to do what it takes to be a full-time player.
Yeah, he's had some boneheadedness to him. No, yeah, Keon, jump ball specialist. I think the Bills wanted that. Xavier Legette, man, got a real chance to smash down the stretch with maybe no Adam Thielen, no Diontae Johnson. Now, the worst thing for Legette is that Jalen Coker might just be better than him.
I guess it could be. I think that like having Coker not be a zero is probably more additive for him than not, because it means that, like, you know, Xavier Legette's not going to beat NFL double coverage or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, and he's just a fun guy. Polk, kind of busty, to be determined. McMillan, I mean, sky's the limit here. He's going to be the Bucs' #1 wide receiver until Mike Evans returns.
Yeah.
Although Cade Otton might be ahead of him. And then Ricky Pearsall, I don't know. Any opinions on Ricky?
I mean, he's going to have every opportunity in one of the league's 5 best offenses. The thing you would have been concerned about would have been Shanahan just does this where he just buries guys, period. So Ayuk gets injured and he could do any, like, I guess Juwan Jennings will be back next week.
That's the thing. We don't know. Is like, to me, you bench Chris Conley, but they might value Chris Conley being this X and Pearsall might not play because of that. So I don't know. The rookie running backs, okay, there's some nice players here, but it is a rough class where it's like, I mean, Brooks just got to get on the field. Trey Benson, one of the most hated running backs by his own coaches. Blake Corum needs a Kyron injury, clearly. Jalen Wright, I think there was some coach speak about getting him more involved, but it's just tough with Mostert and Achane there. Ray Davis did go back to a clear RB3 with James Cook healthy. Like he's going to get some goal line opportunities. He does some things well. Bucky Irving continues to be a smash. He looks really good running the ball, but Rachaad White's not going away. Like he does things well. He gets goal line opportunities. Braylon Allen, a solid pick, needs touchdowns. Kamani Vidal. I mean, I think we might start seeing a lot more Kamani Vidal, where J.K. Dobbins like has been dominant, but he's been very inefficient. So
super inefficient. Yeah,
I think we can see a lot more Vidal. Lloyd just needs to get back from IR. Tyrone Tracy, an absolute smash at cost. Audric Estime probably needs an injury. And then Will Shipley, I don't know if you saw the touchdown he had that got called back.
It was an impressive touchdown that got
It really
called back
was
by holding. Yeah.
He
Really was.
like, I was like, damn, did Saquon like add 10 pounds? Because he looked huge. He barreled through the line. So maybe he earns more work as it goes. Anything on the rookie running backs, and then I'll highlight this super chat.
No, it's just crazy how bad of a class it's been. Like, Bucky is the clear smash. I guess Ray Davis could work his way into a larger timeshare, but Cook is playing very well. Tracy, obviously a big hit. Man, Estime, bro. It's like, stop fumbling every time you get on the field. Javonte Williams averaged 2.6 yards per carry against the Panthers. Like, the path for Estime getting carries is so obvious, but he can't get out of his own way. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, I drafted a lot of the rookie running backs. I do that almost every year. Most of them were cheap, where they're not killing you. Really, the ones that are killing you are the expensive ones, Brooks, Benson, and Corum, just because they've contributed probably collectively 5 fantasy points on the season.
Right.
There's still room for Jalen Wright to be a mega smash if an injury occurs and the Dolphins are competitive. Same for Ray Davis, Bucky Irving, and Tyrone Tracy are your hits so far. Marshawn Lloyd would have been in the mix if he didn't get hurt. And Kamani Vidal, man, he could be a league winner down the stretch.
I'm kind of leaning that way because like they're throwing. Vidal looked good in his very first game. Like I do kind of wonder if he's sort of like secretly one of the better picks right now.
Yeah, and same thing with Braylon Allen. Like Braylon Allen's going to give you some spikes, but like a Brees injury, league winner for him, assuming they're competitive, or they might even like shut Brees down. Like if they're like 2-8, what are they doing?
Yeah, what's the point?
EC sent Davis a super chat here.
Yeah, so he plays in this 12 team, maybe 15 team like FanDuel league with his buddies and doesn't really know what he's doing and watches my Sunday morning stream, and he posted a team that was not very good, and I got him on to the nuts. So shout out to EC for shipping that.
Good job to you guys. What are your thoughts on this? Is there any current ETN trade talks? Is Tank a hold or trade? I mean, Tank's a clear hold. I do think ETN should be traded. I think evidence by the Jaguars trading away their left tackle, they would have traded away Christian Kirk, so that was a major gut punch.
Yeah.
Although, landing with the Ravens would have been not a boost. Who would trade for ETN? Maybe the Cowboys. Like maybe that is what it was. The Cowboys were like, "Hey, let's see what happens if we don't have Rico." Now ETN might be injured, so
he is injured. He hasn't played the last 2 weeks.
Khalil Herbert could be traded as well. I know a lot of people were into Khalil Herbert. Very, very bizarre reporting in the offseason about Roshan's injury / lack of injury.
Yeah, they just basically never told us that his foot was hurt.
Let's look at our top teams.
Not very many top teams for me, brother.
This is like the same team I've had this whole time, I think. Yeah, I'm at 18 teams. People don't know. I'm expected to advance 18.2. So
people don't know. I'm expected to advance 18.2.
I advanced 19 the year I won BBM 2. So that's what I'm shooting for. Clean 19. I do think it will go. I think it could go down because Kirk and Ayuk were guys I had at 20%. Yeah. So those are hurting me. Davis, your top team. And Davis, we're advancing one team together, and another team where you have 14% equity is like in third. So hey,
okay.
we got shots to chop.
So I'm not dead. I'm not dead.
We got shots to chop this bad boy up.
Okay.
Davis, your top team. By the way, you're expected to advance more than you are advancing.
I have a bunch of teams that are very within 10 points or whatever.
Your top team dealing with some injuries, and it's Baker Mayfield. I think he was on both our top ones. Yeah. Like, if you don't have Baker Mayfield, you don't have a top scoring team.
This team sucks.
Well, you're gonna get Nico back. Pickens and Reed. Injured, bad.
Yeah, no, this team sucks.
Injured. Hit.
Yeah.
Hit. I mean, dude, Ramondre Stevenson averaging like 2.5 yards per carry, but
bad.
scoring 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Unreal. Let's look at the top team in the contest.
Let's see if I'd buy it for $100. I think I remember this team, and I think the answer is no.
Daniels, Kirk, Baker, Saquon, Kamara,
not buying
Bucky,
this team's dead.
Chase, Mike Evans, Terry, Godwin, Rice. So 2 zeros. Myers, Mooney, Calvin Austin, Bowers. I mean, honestly, like the Steelers could definitely trade for a wide receiver, which probably sends Van Jefferson or Austin off the field. But okay, it has 2 zeros, but it's still a good team even with that, right? Because Jacoby Myers could be traded. Like he could land with the Commanders, maybe.
Could. Sure. Why not?
Mooney, dude. Mooney, what's his advance rate? Mooney's got to be
one of the best advance rate guys.
I know, and I repeatedly said this offseason, like, oh, this is Kirk's Jordan Addison. I didn't get enough of him though. Like I was like, that's a lesson for me too, where I was like, oh, but like Jalen Polk's a rookie, yada yada. Mooney.
Yeah, I don't have any of him, and I don't honestly, I don't feel that bad about it.
I have 10 Mooney teams. Davis, I think you do, because your Herzig team has him.
That's so fun. Of course. And they're all and probably all of those are with Herzig or Rebar or someone.
Hey, well, a good way to vary your exposures there.
Didn't vary him enough, I guess.
Well, I mean, you can't be an 8% bro. Like the 8% bros are the worst.
The 8% bros are printing money this year, Liam.
Well, let's look. Like Neil is who comes to mind when I think of 8%. Does anyone? I think
Khalil Herbert is his most drafted player.
Is it Player Q?
Player Q DFS, I think.
Is there? Well, Player Q comes up. Neil. Well, I guess let's look at the exposures more than his advance rates. I only think of Neil as an 8% guy because he told me that before many times.
Yeah.
That he is trying to spread it. And again, I think Neil, like myself, drafted early in the season. Like, let's look up he's someone who streamed all his drafts. So in the early draft,
he had to draft a ton at the end because the contest was about to fill.
Yeah, but he did draft throughout the summer. Like I'm seeing April, June, May, whatever. Yeah. And so those teams will have Jermaine Burton, who's not dead, man. Like he caught a 40-yard ball.
He almost scored a touchdown.
Like I kind of like some of the early teams because the early teams is where you could get like Ladd and Keon in round 10 and 11 instead of rounds like 6 and 7. So they may have Jermaine Burton. Like this team was drafted the day the contest opened. That's advancing. Cook, Walker, Chase Brown. Okay, really only like a 3 RB team right now. Kyler and Herbert, but then Chase, Nico, Mike. So these guys are going to return. Ladd and Keon coming on. Cooks and Dortch. Dortch can't contribute a single point. And Zay Jones is now playing too. Wish I did 2 tight ends for this one with the wide receiver injuries and the running back lack of depth. But, like this is a fun team where it's like, okay, Lloyd comes back. Shipley becomes something. Maybe a Bijan injury. It's just rare to get these 5 wide receivers and also have Cook and Walker and Kyler and Trey McBride.
Ooh. Khalil Herbert healthy scratch last week. I missed that. That is a Windhorst. That is a Windhorst.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is it recency bias or is this a really bad year for injuries? I mean, I think there's some people in my Discord who are trying to claim that. So sorry, go ahead, Davis.
Well, every year feels bad. When you're in it, it always feels bad.
Yeah. There's some guy in my Discord being like, best ball is going to take a serious hit next year because people are having a bad time because of injuries. And like, I'm sorry, but the sky is falling crowd comes around every year. Best ball was going to evaporate after the Bengals-Bills game got canceled. Yeah. Best ball was going to get canceled after COVID. Last year, all the quarterback injuries was going to leave a bad taste in people's mouths. Like this year, it's the wide receiver injuries. No, I don't think best ball is going anywhere. In fact, it's an extremely untapped market where the amount of people that play like season-long best ball or season-long fantasy football compared to best ball is like literally 99% compared to 1%. So you slowly convert some season-long guys. Will there be some people who have a bad time and leave? Yes, that happens with everything, right? Some people play a poker tournament, they lose, and they don't like it, so they don't play anymore. Does poker go away? No, right? Best ball's only going to grow, right? And, like, it's just a reminder, guys, like, don't overextend yourself. Don't think that you have the keys to the kingdom in May, June, July, and August. Gamble what you can afford.
I did have the keys to the kingdom, and then Hollywood Brown got injured, and then Rashi Rice got injured. The keys, I was in the kingdom. I was the kingdom was there, dude. I was in it. And then it went away.
Yeah, well, just be responsible. And no, best ball's not going anywhere. It's a long season, right? And it only takes one, right? Like, shout out for Reed, who won. His team was not exactly correlated. His exposures weren't the best. Doesn't matter, right? I had 19 teams. One team made the final. I won BBM2. I parlayed that into winning 2 high stakes best ball contests the next year, right? Like, there is a lot of survivorship bias if you're trying to like make an actual living from best ball. One of the hardest fields ever, because you can literally only win, like, there's like 5 winners a year, unlike DFS or whatever. And I also think it's a benefit that best ball, like, okay, it's a bad that you tie up your money, but it's a good that, unlike DFS where you have to face losing weekly if you're playing tournaments, in best ball you face it once a year. So like, yeah, you may not like it in October, which is also like, this is a seasonal depression time. It gets darker earlier. It's cold, whatever. That kind of just happens across the US. But, come around the summer next year, people are feeling better. They're like, maybe I just wasn't lucky with the injuries, whatever. Best ball's not going anywhere. Like, it's only going to get bigger, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, like what'll be interesting will be to see if anyone seriously tries to compete with Underdog in terms of like really marketing it. Like,
DraftKings, I think, made a strong push this year.
Yeah, and weirdly, FanDuel is actually now trying to improve their DFS product again. So I wonder if they enter the. No, they did. They have.
I'm just laughing because Underdog doesn't exist if FanDuel had like an ounce of knowledge. Like, we're not even. But best ball mania is not a thing.
Yeah.
If people aren't familiar, FanDuel acquired the company that Underdog essentially was before. And then they like let their do not compete, like there wasn't a do not compete or something like that. And they just kind of like bought it and then it went away. And then they launched a new company, Underdog, and Underdog very smartly values customer service. They valued, just like growing. And when the alternative is like DraftKings telling you to go fuck yourself if you email them on customer service, people tend to like them, and so.
Correct.
It's just funny where, like, why isn't Yahoo rolling out $1 million contest?
Yeah, I mean, they've tried DFS before and it has not gone that well for them. But I see your point.
Or like CBS, or like, I mean, and eventually one of these days, what's going to happen is we're going to get ESPN best ball. Like, that's
but
that's
so the thing about that is they are doing a terrible job at sports betting. Like, they're like, ESPN Bet is awful. It has no market share. No one uses it. So if they can't succeed at that, I don't know how well they would succeed with best ball.
Well, I still think they're probably the biggest home league site. Do you think they're bigger, or CBS?
I actually think it sounds like CBS might be based on, but I don't know. I mean, I can't.
Me and my friends do ESPN home leagues, but yeah, I mean, even if they just like rolled out like $5,000 contest one year and then like only a 5K size contest, but you grow from there. But I don't know. All right, Davis, what's next? What do you want to look at here?
I don't know. I think I don't know if I have any other interesting angles. We could try and do all the dead players again. Now that we have Diggs
yeah,
and Kirk.
okay, let's look at it.
So we got
Ayuk, Kirk, Diggs,
Rice.
Might as well throw Brendan Rice in there too.
Sure. Yeah.
Hollywood.
Godwin.
Help us out, chat. Godwin.
Pacheco. Who else has been injured? Let's just look at 2024 ADP. I'm sure there are plenty of dead guys to join the list.
Guys out for the year. Help us out in chat.
Pacheco's on the list. Debo's
Shaheed, thank you.
Shaheed. There's got to be more.
Deshaun Watson, our only quarterback injury this year.
Yeah. Watson.
Aiden Hutchinson, thank you, Dawg.
Yeah, good bit.
Oh no, JJ McCarthy.
Although that one matters less, I would argue.
Not to the people
how about this one? How about Jonathan Brooks? Is Jonathan Brooks even going to play this year? Oh, Richardson.
I think he is. He's going to play. We're not including him. Eli Mitchell, thank you. Keaton Mitchell though. Rondale, sure. No, Thielen. If they're going to return, they don't count. I know. I drafted AOC, man. I was like, it's going to be AOC over Gardner. That was right. Breaks his thumb immediately. I
don't know if that was right, to be honest with you.
He was going to be the starter the rest of the way if he didn't break his thumb. Probably still will start when he returns in 4 weeks. Jameson Williams soon, true. Musgrave, I think he'll return, but he is a bust. Zamir White
is
sure. 0. All right, well, let's look at this.
57.
That brings me down to 57 teams, of which I'm advancing 9 for.
No, that's good. You'd like your non-dead teams to be the advancing ones.
Yeah. But also that will be the field's tendency,
Sure.
CEH. Yeah, I mean CEH, man. Give me a break.
He's behind Carson Steele, buddy.
Davis, you're at 51. And you have a lot of, only advancing 2 of them. I would say you have a lot of room to get these teams.
And a bunch of these are close.
Yeah,
like 10, 3rd place, 10 points behind. 5th place, 35 points behind. I mean, Greg Dulcich, sure, why not?
Dude, can we trade Greg Dulcich? James Conner, Ramondre,
a J-Mac team, and an Ed Nico team.
Garrett.
Although Rodgers and Garrett, I think that's going one.
No, this team could totally get going because these 3 guys, rookies, coming into their own.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get Nico back here. I'm going to look at some of mine that are close. Let's see. Not a ton that are close. This one's 17 points back. Devontae Walker, he's that dream's probably over. We got him active for a game, and now Diontae's
active into not playing into a wide receiver trade. I'm gonna guess is not super live.
Whatever happened to Diontae? He's still playing, I think. Actually, this team's pretty fun. Lamar and Trevor,
sure.
Tyreek Neighbors and triple scrub Ravens wide receivers. Malachi Corley, dude. Jesus, man. Let's see. This one's 13 points back. Chase Debo, Neighbors, Flowers.
The people are wanting to put Polk in a grave yet. I'm not putting Polk in a grave.
I'm not putting him in the grave yet especially because Drake May shared an image of Polk 2 weeks ago or something on his Instagram. So I
mean, he just looks like May just looks awesome for fantasy.
Yeah, May is awesome. Let's look at our May teams. Excluding the injured guys with May, 0 for 7 for me.
Wow, you're close. Some of these are close though. Yeah, they all have Polk and Baker is a 0. There's a 0. Javon Baker is a super 0.
Well, this team's fun because it is Bijan and Puka. So with Puka back now, and Bijan and Puka is incredibly rare. So this team definitely has a chance to get going. What's your take on Jordan Mason versus Isaac Rendo? I think Isaac Rendo's looked very good, and he might just Might Wally
Mason
Pip
just
Mason and play a
he just
slot.
keeps getting hurt.
Yeah.
They're on bye this week though. I mean, CMC, dude, you want to talk about something that could throw a giant wrinkle in the season. CMC comes back and just smashes. How much of a wrinkle is that going to throw in the best ball season?
Really depends when he returns. Like, he might just be so low owned it doesn't matter.
Dude.
You have a 10. Let's see. Lamar and Kirk, CMC, Walker, Chase Brown, Rico, CH, Neighbors Moore, Diontae, Palmer,
Josh
Dobbs,
Palmer. Jesus Christ, Davis, grow up.
Trey Tucker, Pitts likely.
That one's live. That one could be a shipper.
Yeah.
Is Gus Edwards coming back? Yeah, he's coming back. He's coming back to replace Hassan Haskins snaps.
Well, and he actually could, like, he clearly wasn't right. So he got like an unreported surgery. He's not definitely dead to me.
I mean, he looked like the worst running back in the NFL, basically.
Yes, but I think a lot of that had to do with this random surgery he had. Christian McCaffrey. I wonder what his expected advance rate is.
That's a good question. 6.6%. Yeah.
Interesting. Out of 3.2. How about with Saquon? That combo is advancing 9%.
How about with Henry?
Even in Henry's bad games this year, he's getting like touchdowns.
Zay Flowers getting tackled on the 1 yard line to dead the wide receiver drafters and give it to Henry. I mean, that's
dude. I have a lot of Zay Flowers too. He's like, I don't know. Looking at my exposures, there's a couple guys like holding it together here. So Ayuk out. Shakir is a smash man. Keon solid.
Yeah, dude, he's just smashing his way to 13 half PPR points. Great player.
Zay Flowers. I mean, Khalil Shakir leads the league in drop rate.
Coleman is going to be a really good pick, I think.
Khalil Shakir is 20 picks cheaper, so he's pretty solid. Zay Flowers, Chase, and James Cook. These are like the guys who can give me big spikes. Kirk out for the year. Purdy's been a smash. You know, Purdy has more rushing yards than Josh Allen this year.
Yeah, Purdy has been awesome.
And that's, I kind of said this about Josh Allen, where you like people just assumed he's going to be rushing every year in and year out. But I really think last year was a byproduct of how desperate the Bills were to make the playoffs. Like, we're going to get rushing Josh Allen when the Bills are desperate, but when they're not, I don't think they don't want to do that. Demarcus Robinson, random 2 touchdowns. Let's go. Tank Dell.
Demarcus Robinson, 2 touchdown games, 16 points. This is the most incredible stat line.
These guys, Bowers, Kittle, Swift, Tank, Nico, these guys are solid. I mean, dude, Tank has got to give us something.
God, yeah. I mean, how does he not?
Like, I mean, if he's not fully healthy, I'm going to be overweight Tank next year. I just know that.
Tank Dell? Oh, yeah, no doubt about it.
Because, like, Darnell Mooney also had tightrope surgery, was terrible last year. Now he's recovered, looking great. Tony Pollard, tightrope. Now he's recovered, looking great. Mark Andrews, tightrope. As the season gets going, probably going to be looking better. Let's look at your exposures, Davis.
They're probably bad.
So Worthy can give you big spikes. What's your take on Jaylen Warren? Najee's like, he's playing for that contract, man.
It's just never going to happen. I mean, he's playing half the snaps. It was the exact role we imagined. He just isn't going to score any touchdowns, so he doesn't matter. Half
he's
PPR.
Got spikes. I still think he's banged up.
I don't think you play back-to-back more snaps than Najee if you're super banged up.
Chase Brown can definitely give you some spikes. Hollywood out for the year.
He keeps scoring touchdowns. I thought DJ Moore died in that game. That game, like I thought they were stretchering him off the field, and then he came back in.
Yeah, so he's fine. I do think Rome is going to be continuing to break out, which like even being a co-equal to Rome is a little bit hit to Moore, but Moore is still capable of a huge spike. Wicks, don't know what's going on there with injury or whatnot. Rico, definitely capable of spikes. needs an injury, out for the year. A fine player. I mean, Jermaine Burton, dude. Depending on this T. Higgins injury, like
Yeah.
we could be looking at a second half league winner, Jermaine Burton. Because you know who's been bad is Andre Yoshivas. Like he scored those touchdowns.
Andre Yoshivas is like the literal worst target earning wide receiver in the entire NFL. It's crazy. He cannot get open.
And the great sign for Burton is that you know who didn't play more than him? Trent Irwin. And he was like the de facto wide receiver. Like he's like the ho-hum, do your job guy.
Yeah.
They're recognizing that they need to get Burton going. Fant's fine. Mahomes, he's just not going to be a positive advance rate guy, but he can have a big spike at low ownership. Achane should be a smash. Jefferson, a smash. Rome, I definitely think we're going to get a breakout. Dortch, whatever, he was
first
cheap.
Career touchdown. Good for him.
May solid.
May is a smash. Cup will be a smash. Gibson is not a smash.
I don't think Cup will be. I mean, I don't know. Like, hard to say how healthy anyone is. I do think Puka will be the one, but like Cup being the 2 is solid. Gibson, whatever. Bowers, smash. I mean, World is the oyster for Debo, right? Like, no Ayuk. Yeah. It's Kittle. So these teams could come surging. Kelsey, I don't know if it was National Tight End Day or whatever. Jalen, you got a lot of healthy guys that are coming into their own. McMillan, like you're I think you're definitely going to get some payout for that.
It's funny. I have so much Stafford, who I like. Honestly, is not a good fantasy quarterback, but I just paired him so much.
I was going to bring that up in a past show, but I just didn't. But like, yeah, the rub on Stafford is that he's a really good real life quarterback, but he's like almost never gives you a spike. He did throw 4 touchdowns this past week though, so like it can happen. Ken Walker, a smash. Keon, a very solid hit. Luke McCaffrey got a touchdown waved off.
God, Luke McCaffrey, man. You want to talk about the world being your oyster and you can't beat out Zach Ertz.
Well, and if you knew going into the season the Commanders were a playoff team, Jaden Daniels is awesome.
Jaden Daniels is going to win.
Jahan Dotson gets traded away. By the way, egregious trade by the Eagles. You give up a 3rd-round pick for Jahan Dotson when you could have just waited and gotten like Cooper, Diontae, anyone else, you know? Bijan, whatever. Like, I mean, yeah, you got a lot of solid guys coming into their own. We're going to get Nico back. I have Greg Dulcich's bags too. Cook solid. 17 CMC teams isn't helping. I'm like advancing none of my Lamb teams. And Lamb barely saw a spike for his
Giga game.
Yeah, like he barely saw a spike in advance rate.
Yeah, that is strange.
20%. And it's just because like I think last week was a really high scoring week in general. So it's like good for you. You plugged in 40 points from Lamb, but here's Kate Otton's 30. You know? Like you're not closing the gap on the
anything for you.
Like the Otton Mayfield combo.
Kind of tough. Kind of tough for it to be like my you know, my Andrews teams that should theoretically be like boosted as a result. Like they're doing nothing. They don't matter at all.
Yeah.
You want to do a dog bowl and then fill out our pick'em entry and then get out of here?
Yeah, let's do that. Reminder, guys, we do the show weekly for free. Please do be sure to like the video. If you're watching this on replay, all comments help the algorithm, even from the haters. And please do be sure to subscribe to our channels.
Comment below. Here's your comment prompt. Where would you rank Diontae Johnson at wide receiver for the rest of the season? Who plays more, Diontae Johnson or Rashad Bateman? Probably Rashad Bateman.
Yeah, in the first game, no doubt. Hopkins, Amari Cooper, like he did play more. I really don't know. Like, will he score more fantasy points than even Khalil Shakir? I'm really not sure.
Cooper, yeah, he'll score more touchdowns.
I don't like Khalil Shakir. Jacob Gibbs is fighting the good fight for Shakir as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't watch very many games and you base it all on EPA per target, you're gonna be like, yeah, dude, Khalil Shakir is the GOAT.
Khalil Shakir to the moon. Wide receiver 4 in fantasy points per route run on the year. Now healthy and leading the Bills in routes run. 30% first read target share the past 2 weeks. The Bills had the highest implied point total in week 9. He's been a smash man. Like, he's averaging over 13 points per game. Shout out Jacob, sharing data and whatnot.
Yeah, he has access to
data you don't.
Great. Well, he has the True Media. He's got the True Media thing, which costs like $15,000 a year if you're not an employee of a big media company. So he's got access to good data. I would just say that saying you don't want Cooper Kupp to keep Khalil Shakir, that was one of my all-time favorite Liam.
I mean, it's
moments.
just like, why would I want a 1-year rental for Kupp when Khalil Shakir is like a 3rd-year player who's going to be with the Bills for his whole career and like legitimately might be their best skill player?
His whole career. He's going to be a Bill. He's going to be a Bill his whole career, Liam says.
He is going to be playing football significantly longer than Cooper Kupp and might just be better than Cooper Kupp at this stage in the game.
What I would tell you is that flags fly forever. That would be my response to you.
Yeah, and Shakir's bringing 3 home, baby. We're getting the 3 in the row.
3 in a row, huh?
3 in a row.
You know, Liam, I will.
People are saying Khalil Kupp.
Khalil Kupp. Are people being serious in the chat that they think Diontae Johnson is having a great season? He really is such a.
He was a byproduct of the Panthers being terrible and Andy Dalton just like force feeding it to him.
He is one of the most like mediocre guys of all time.
Don't do that.
It is what it is.
2 more for the Dog Bowl. Dude, I did one of these last night, and Alvin Kamara being the 101 floored me. I was like, are we watching the same season? He's since flipped CD, but like, are people watching the same football as me? Where like, I understand he's getting a lot of targets. He's like the only guy in the offense, but it's just the touchdown equity on the Saints is not very good, even against the Panthers, where it's like, give me the elite wide receivers, give me Derrick Henry instead, give me Saquon instead, give me Kyren Williams easily instead of Alvin Kamara this week.
You want Derrick Henry instead of Kamara against the Panthers, brother?
Probably, yeah. Because like, even though the Broncos are good, Derrick Henry could score 4 touchdowns against them.
Well, anyone can score 4 touchdowns against anyone.
I would easily take Kyren Williams over Kamara too.
I think that's fine. I think that's fine.
And I like slam dunk Saquon over Kamara.
I mean, I just do so many of these that I don't really fade it that way. Like
yeah, that's fair if you're volume drafting. I'd probably prefer Achane over Kamara. Like, I just know like the way that the Bills pressure, teams tend to target guys like quickly. So Achane's gonna get like 7 to 10 targets minimum.
Sure. What pick did we get? Oh, not great. Not great, the 108. But
how many dog bowls have you done so far?
None. 0. I don't do any of them.
Oh, why is the 108 bad then? You haven't done any yet.
There's a pretty big drop off after Tyreek goes, and I believe he goes 7. Oh no, never mind. I'm wrong.
I don't even want Tyreek against the Bills. Like, I think
Achane and I don't even want Tyreek against. I don't even want Tyreek against the Bills.
Name one outside wide receiver who's gotten there against Buffalo this year, including Tyreek with a healthy Tua.
He's Tyreek, dude.
He is Tyreek.
If none of like
I like Puka.
Facts and yeah, I love Puka's kind of the secret play this week,
especially because the reason why I think Khalil Shakir got so many targets against the Seahawks is the Seahawks have a really good pass rush, and so when a team has a good pass rush, you get the ball out quick. Khalil Shakir's ADOT is like 4 yards, so that's why he's going to get a lot of catches and yard after catch, etc. And that is That's Puka to me. Although it could be Cup, but I think it's more Puka. Just like I don't think the Rams want Cup having 14 targets a game if they can avoid it. Like they want to make the playoffs. They can make the playoffs. Like they're pretty wide open in the NFC. And you need a healthy Koopa or Puka and Cup to do that.
True. Yeah, Puka definitely is going to be the better yak guy, right? I mean, that is how it's set up. Not that Cup
but sometimes we
see
those really volume Cup games. Like to start, like that first game he smashed this season.
Yeah,
he got like literally 21 targets, all within like 5 yards of the line of scrimmage.
Doesn't that feel like just a different lifetime ago? Just like we were such different people.
Yeah, when Puka where Cooper Kupp was the 101 in drafts that week ahead of CD Lamb, and then he got hurt or whatever.
Really, really unbelievable stuff. Do you have any good high stakes teams?
We can look at them. Yeah, I do have some good ones. We'll look at them after we do this draft, and then we'll finish with a thing. How about you?
I basically have one good one. Kyron's good, yeah. Although the running back scrolls are much better than the wide receivers. If you want to take St. Brown, I don't care.
Well, I always like the Sun God.
Yeah, sure, ship it.
It does feel like they're going to continue the Kyron touchdown streak, though. And just
yes,
banking a touchdown. Feel like he's now scored a touchdown in I think 11 straight games or something. They're going to try to continue that.
Yeah, but I mean, what is one touchdown worth? To ship these, you need the 3 touchdown.
Well, just locking in 20 points and then trying to hit, like the safety of Kyron is pretty nice, and obviously massive ceiling. Like Kyron could be even better with the return of Kupp and Puka. He's going like they're going to have their own
game. He's going to be better. Yeah. They're going to be winning games.
Dang, I was hoping to get Achane.
Dude, Achane can't get there against the Bills. No one can get there against the Bills, bro. Didn't you see what they just did to the Seahawks?
The outside wide receivers have been a bad get against Buffalo, but what's been a good bet is explosive running backs and guys who get targeted quickly, because the Dolphins have a bad O-line and they get the ball out quick. So it's kind of hard to hit Tyreek 50 yards downfield when that's occurring. But Achane is going to get like 14 targets. Same thing with Jonnu Smith. Like he's going to see like 8 targets of just a way to counter a quick rush. And teams have been gashing Buffalo like that.
Okay. How unexcited or excited are you for the Bills trip to Arrowhead in the divisional round?
I'm excited about it. I have hopes it could be high scoring. It's probably going to be 20-14.
No, it's going to be one of the worst football games.
No, I think that's a very exciting game. The Chiefs earning their first L on the season, and I mean, the Chiefs kind of escaped against the Raiders.
Week 10.
I don't know. We can look it up.
No, they did not. That's classic, Liam. They did not escape against the Raiders. We don't want them together. I think we either take London or set up. Or I actually think we could do Njoku here too, but probably.
I really like Cook.
Sure.
Getting a little bit unusual there. We'll have to figure out wide receiver. Let's see. Bills schedule. I mean, dude, the Bills have already won the division, so they could kind of get boring too. But Dolphins, Colts, we get the Chiefs game. And what's fun is I think like the Bills play the Chiefs, Niners, Lions. I think the Chiefs have a similar tough schedule after that.
Mahomes winning MVP this season in what has objectively been his worst year as a starter would just be such a joke.
I know the league is kicking itself for giving Lamar MVP last year because there's absolutely no shot they're going to give him back-to-back. And he's objectively the MVP this year.
He's so much better, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, can we stop giving the quarterback just on the best team that's not Brock Purdy the MVP? Like it would have been such a good year. Just give it to CMC, give it to Tyreek last year,
Yeah, the Dolphins season just ended. So, I mean, Purdy probably.
Well, and I think they legitimately don't want Tyreek to be like the face of the league. He's a wide receiver. He's old. He's a jerk.
He's a bad dude.
Like Josh Allen, people are talking about him being MVP this year. He objectively was a better MVP candidate last year because
And
he
2
literally
years ago.
well, but last year the team was like 5-5 and he had to like show out to get them there. He's just not thrown like he threw one interception, so it's like okay, now he's the MVP. And I think some people don't want Mahomes to have it, but Mahomes is going to win it if they have the best record and they're the quarterback, you know?
It's just the way. I don't even want him to win it. I want them to get punished. I hot take, Liam. I've said this before. I'm kind of mad they won the Super Bowl last year.
Okay, I want to talk to you about this because I just do not agree at all that the Chiefs are trying to not score points. I think they legitimately just cannot. Like they would be dropping 40 if they could. They just can't, and they think their best way to win is to run the football, have Mahomes be accurate, have him run the ball, and win a bunch of games by 7 or 10 points. Like if they could hit an 80-yard bomb, they would do that.
Fundamental misunderstanding of the psychology of this team right now.
Like, come on, chat. Who you with? Let's put a here. I can put a poll in the chat.
They could score 35 points a game if they wanted to. They don't want to. Not 35 points a game. They could score 28 points a game if they wanted to. But they're not going to, and they won't. And they're not going to change their stripes. They're going to play good defense. They're going to run the ball. This is like how the Patriots would just, like the last decade of the Tom Brady Patriots, they would just chill. And also, yeah, they have literally scored 26, 27, and 28 in their most recent 3 games. I suppose for people like me, and maybe you guys too, the tilting thing is that they get down to the 1-yard line and then they just hand it to Kareem Hunt, who can't benefit us in any way because he was drafted on like 88 total teams in Best Ball Mania. So it basically is like a Chiefs drive that ends with 0 fantasy points scored, more or less.
I put a poll in there that says, "Are the Chiefs not scoring points on purpose?"
It depends. It depends on what you mean by on purpose. Justin just said in the chat, they're just very risk averse. They're not courting danger in any way.
Okay, but that is different than like they're a risk averse team. That's just kind of how the NFL is going.
Yeah, we've really put ourselves in jail at wide receiver here.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
You know what we should do on this team? We should do Jameis and Cedric Tillman.
Yeah, I think they're solid. Man, I was really like Lamar has not been falling here from the one draft I did, so I was hoping to get that for uniqueness. All right, let's get a wideout here. I think I like Jaden Reed.
I like Jaden Reed. I probably like DJ more. I'm worried that Love doesn't play this week.
Yeah, I think we could get both.
Sure.
And even if Love doesn't play, like, Reed could like that's the games where Reed gets like 8 carries.
Sure. I mean that could happen, but also we just left ourselves in a hole at quarterback also. Because we won't want to take Love because he's questionable.
Well, we'll just take we'll figure it out. We can add a rushing quarterback.
There isn't one. The Kyler's really the only one this week, and he gets drafted.
I have a plan in mind. We'll see if it comes together.
I hope that you execute your plan. Have you had any sweats in these in the dog bowl?
I've not really drafted a lot the past couple of weeks, just been busy, so no. Like I've had some good teams, but I mean it's hard to be one like literally you have to be top 3, How did last week go for you?
I had a team in the BR finish 64th. Needed one of the tush push touchdowns to be.
Yeah, Davis, give me a second here. I got someone working at the house.
Oh, he's got
knocking on my door. This was the plan.
All right, we're about to get starred. Lad McConkey. Yeah, these are pretty interesting. I Ryan just commented Pittman saying that he found out about the quarterback change on Twitter. That is
all right.
That is such tilt. Although, you know who might be a low key winner might be Josh Downs. Downs is going to end up being
not low key, dude. High
yeah,
key.
high key. I suppose it's high key.
He is a smash. He's the one guy who has been a win for the injured guys. Yeah, I think we go Lad. Actually, no, let's get your guy. Let's go more. I was gonna say Lad and Herbert.
Fuck, I was gonna say now we're dust at quarterback. Now we're just
we're gonna take Caleb.
I guess. God.
Yeah, we'll take Caleb in the last round.
Yeah, the chat is right. Like the Chiefs Malik Willis had an objectively more exciting offense than Mahomes this season. Like I just don't believe any serious person can watch and be like, this is an offense operating at the peak of their powers on purpose. They're trying really hard.
I'll pull up my FFPC teams while we wait. I think this team is pretty solid. It's a Kyron Bijan team. It's got Jaden Reed, DJ Moore, Kincaid and Ferguson, and Brian Thomas.
Why do you guys have 3 quarterbacks?
Because we added May. Austin Siebert, by the way, is like the GOAT kicker.
Yeah, cheat code.
This guy, I picked him off waivers. He's averaging 15 points per game at kicker. Just absolutely absurd. We got the Chargers D for the sprint. We got Hopkins as a Chief, so that might be a starter. We just added, like, someone dropped Keon, so we bid on him.
Nice.
We have Khalil Shakir, who's been a really solid guy for flex. Running back depth is questionable, where Alexander Madison is our RB3, and then we have this smorgasbord. We're eventually going to drop May probably, but we don't want to help another team catch us in the total point standings right now. Like, there's a team with like bad quarterback play right now that would probably add May. So, like, rather than having an extra depth piece, we'll just drop May later.
Well, and if you already have 2 good running backs too, that also gives you space. Like if you're not always like most of my teams, I'm scratching around. Like Miles Sanders might be my most rostered player.
Yeah.
In FFPC because I'm just scratching for running back 2 points. But if you're not, then yeah, you have.
Yeah, I mean, like, if Kyron or Bijan's lost from this team, it's over. But like, so we're eventually going to need some running back depth. That's why, like, we bid aggressively on Keaton Mitchell instead of someone like Jalen McMillan, just because, like, okay, this guy, maybe he turns into an RB and the season's over. We got the double defense too, setting up for the sprint. So that team's fun. This is the team with Ron and Jacob. It's a pretty sick team that's just been a bit snake bitten. It's got Nico and Diggs, so stings.
Yep.
But it's got Ken Walker, Breece Hall, J.K. Dobbins, and Jordan Mason. So we've been rolling with 4 running backs most of the weeks. Trey McBride. We don't know who our wide receiver, like Worthy, Addison, Keon, Rome, Kendrick Bourne, Komet and McBride, Caleb and Jameis. So this is a pretty solid team.
Jordan Mason team, pretty sick.
Yeah, and then I did more teams on RT Sports, and like Jordan Mason's on all these teams. I got some like this team's 6-2. Lamar, Achan, Gibbs, Flowers, Shakir, Andrews, Brian Thomas, Christian Watson. Team's actually not as good as Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason could be going to 0, man.
Jordan Mason could be I mean, Jordan Mason has like had 2 really good games, 3 really good games, and then mostly owned you. Like most like
yeah, like immediately got hurt to start the game.
Yeah, kind of funny. Better in best ball.
What is the trade package the Giants Panthers sent for AR in the offseason? I don't know, man. I don't think the Giants are going to do that. Who's the tight end of your choice? Laporta? Good.
No, we need to set up a quarterback.
No, let's do Laporta, and then we can do Goff.
Sure. I don't love it, but it's fine.
I mean, we have Bo Nix as a rusher, which I don't want to do, but Caleb, Goff, take your pick.
Probably Goff.
I think
rivalry game, NFC North rivalry game.
I think I'm Caleb.
Would be fun for a Caleb.
I mean, dude, Goff had
resurgency week.
he had 15 pass attempts for 85 yards last week.
And David Montgomery threw a touchdown.
Yeah. It's just like, okay, this 40 rushing yards for Caleb, that could have been like 120 watching that game.
Yeah.
Like he almost had 2 huge runs.
He was only running because the passing game was not working.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's just like, I know the Cardinals defense is bad. I am not actually I'm not sure how bad the Commanders defense is this year. I think they're like, it sticks in people's minds because they were terrible last year. They were bad to start this year, but they've been playing pretty good recently. Seems pretty nice though. It's got correlated Reed and Laporta, and we have a perfectly viable quarterback. Like if you don't have Daniels, Hurts, Lamar, Dak, or no, not Dak, Lamar, Hurts, Jaden, Josh, you might as well wait on quarterback.
No, it's fine waiting until I think waiting the last round is optimal.
Let's do Caleb, man.
Sure. That'll be the slightly less owned combo too.
Maybe. I don't know. Let's do a pick'em here. Start us off, Davis.
Well, Justin Jefferson plays on Thursday against the Texans. So let me look. Jefferson, I don't even have a touchdown for him. Oh, they play on Sunday night.
They have higher 90 receiving yards.
No. Can I get an Achane touchdown at 1.07x, please?
I like the yards a lot more, but I'm fine with the touchdown. It's like the touchdown you run the risk of getting Mosterted. Where it's like, I'm pretty confident he's going to have a good fantasy day. So, like, I would take the over fantasy points, over receptions.
Yeah, they just don't. I like the fantasy points ones the most as well, too, but they don't post them until, like, Sunday morning.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll do touchdown. Here's what it is. I'm going to do Jonnu Smith over receptions, over 2.5 receptions.
His usage is so bullish. He's like a top 12 route share tight end in football.
Yeah, and against the Bills last time they played, like to counter the Bills pass rush, they just kept on doing tight end screens to him. So I think that will happen again.
Yeah. I would like to do CeeDee Lamb to record higher than 86.5 receiving yards.
I like that. Let's peep what James Cook has got here. 66.5 rushing yards is pretty high. I like the touchdown. Let's do higher touchdown.
I'm skipping this in mine. I think it's probably
I would skip Achane in mine.
Okay, that's fair. You know what? No, that's not how we do it. I'm riding or dying. James Cook.
It sucks to lay the odds, but whatever.
Sure.
And he's been running really hard. Like he's been like blowing through tackles and whatnot.
He's been running really hard.
Running real hard, brother.
He's been running really hard. All right. I would like to take. Damn, what do they have for Chase Brown? I want Chase Brown 1.13x to record a touchdown. They get him a touchdown like every game.
Yeah, he is like not as loved as his usage has been.
Yeah.
Let's peek what Justin Herbert lines are. I'm gonna take
yeah.
higher 216.5 passing yards.
That was the higher on Herbert passing yards was like Cardi's favorite play last week. All right. Let's take a look at what is Alvin Kamara to record a touchdown against the Panthers.
Probably like 0.6.
Yeah, they might not even have it up.
There's only a fumble.
Only a fumble's lost.
5x multiplier.
Tony Pollard touchdown.
Who do they got? New England? I like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna peep what Tillman's line is.
He only has touchdown. Yeah. I like that one too.
I'm not gonna do that one. Jameis. No, it's a little high.
They don't have Evan Ingram up either. Jahmyr Gibbs, 69.5 rushing yards.
No. You've got to mind meld it sometimes.
It's true. Yeah, that's
Robert
true.
Woods lowers. Come on now. They're only giving us the hires on that. Maybe lower on Xavier Hutchinson, 19.5
sold
receiving yards.
I think Mechie is the
well, he can get there one play, but I just he's gonna get like 2 targets, so just hope he doesn't catch him.
Yeah.
8 is the max, right?
Yes. Ship it. Done.
All right, guys. This is Achane touchdown. Jonnu Smith, 3 receptions or higher. CD Lamb higher than 86.5 receiving yards. James Cook touchdown. Chase Brown touchdown. Herbert higher than 216.5 passing yards. Pollard touchdown. Xavier Hutchinson lower. Got to have a lower. Means you know ball.
Correct.
Let me paste that in there if you guys want to tail. Davis, any good high stakes teams before we get out of here you want to talk about?
Yeah, here, I'll share my screen. This is one I co-own with Jacob, and this is really I'm on Firefox. This is so annoying. Select. I never know how to do this.
It's early in the week, Jason. That's the best I can tell you there.
Liam, I might literally be too boomer to do this.
That's fine. You can share it next week. For myself, just like the video, subscribe. Check out Liam Teaches Chess on YouTube if you want to see some chess content. I've been reviewing my tournament games there. Davis, I believe you have a stream later today. Tell the people about it.
Yep, streaming at 1:30 p.m. Central Time with Nerdy Tenor and Brian Hooper. We are going to be running the Battle Royale simulations. Normally that's on Thursday, but it is on Wednesday this week. So come and check it out. It's actually, and it'll directly redirect after this video if you're watching.
Are you guys doing the Swolecast this week?
No Swolecast this week. We should be back next week, unless Dave gets. Maybe we'll do a surprise one. I don't know. That's up to Dave.
And is Tuttle part of the Swolecast planned, or is he?
I think that is
Tuttle's still with RotoGrinders, right?
Because Tuttle's still employed by RotoGrinders, so I think
he does an essential task of projections and whatnot.
He is. Yeah, Tuttle is like COVID times, like essential.
It's Tuttle and a bunch of rubber bands and paper clips holding up RotoGrinders.
Yeah, Tuttle. I mean, I'm still a RotoGrinders contractor. We have a call later today. We have a call at 3:30 today, so it's either going to be RotoGrinders no longer exists, or you guys are getting paid less or something.
A little pro tip I heard is always skip those calls because they're going to fire everyone. And if you don't go to them, they can't fire you and you may just stay on payroll, Great
point. That's a great point, Liam. I love it.
Just kidding. All right, guys. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Peace out.